Times Square in New York City is famous for its bright neon lights, flashy oversized billboards, and endless number of entertainment options. It's considered the commercial and cultural heart of the city that proudly calls itself the Big Apple. If you're planning to make the trip to New York City and Times Square happens to be on your list of places to check out, you want some kind of plan of action. So keep watching to see our list of the best things to do in Times Square, NYC. Madame Tussauds, New York. This exceptionally popular wax figure attraction is renowned around the globe for its fantastic artistry and mesmerizing replicas of famous folks from all arenas of life. You can see life-sized facsimiles of celebrities, musicians, public figures, and even a handful of historical and fictional characters. This place is an Instagram addict's dream come true. Take a sightseeing bus tour. Exploring Manhattan via a bus tour is one of the most iconic New York City touristy things to do. Sit back and relax while listening to an informative narration that teaches you about the sights you're driving by. When you see a place that interests you, hop off and check it out. A few significant landmarks you'll see along your ride include Times Square, Chinatown, Broadway, Madison Square Garden, the Empire State Building, and Tom's Restaurant, the diner famously featured on Seinfeld. Ripley's Believe It or Not. This attraction allows guests to explore the whimsical and wild world of American cartoonist, entrepreneur, anthropologist, and collector of oddities, Robert Ripley. As you stroll through the facility, you'll see dozens of exhibits featuring hundreds of weird and eccentric artifacts and objects. Guests can see everything from actual shrunken heads to taxidermied albino animals and miniatures of NYC landmarks. Over at the Ripley's Relic exhibit, a favorite of younger visitors, you'll be asked to solve a series of puzzles and riddles to unravel the mystery of the elusive relic. National Geographic Encounter Ocean Odyssey. This immersive ocean experience is unique. While it isn't an actual aquarium, you can come here to have an intimate, up-close digital encounter with some of the most majestic and captivating denizens of the Pacific. Throughout your tour, you'll see creatures including great white sharks, giant squid, humpback whales, and hundreds more. The experience begins with a 90-minute undersea voyage where you'll walk along an enormous high-def, 60,000 square foot digital cinematic display. You'll feel like you were teleported to the heart of the sea, amidst a dizzying array of many of its creatures. After completing that leg of your trek, there's an above-the-water exhibit with various interactive and informative displays that teach you about the animals you just saw. Gulliver's Gate. Named after the titular character in the classic novel Gulliver's Travels, this attraction places guests into the position of being a giant whose job it is to survey tiny replicas of cities and landmarks from all around the planet. The fascinating miniature world of Gulliver's Gate is one of the most interesting things to do in the city. From your giant perspective, you'll see familiar sights such as the New York skyline, the Statue of Liberty, the Great Pyramid of Giza, the onion-shaped domes of Moscow, and much more. These hypnotic miniatures were painstakingly crafted by skilled artists from around the world, and they were compiled together into one ridiculously entertaining series of exhibits. One Times Square. Situated on what may be one of the most expensive pieces of prime real estate in the world, One Times Square is a 25-story, 363-foot-tall historic skyscraper, world famous for hosting the annual New Year's Eve ball drop ceremony. The building was designed by famed architect Cyrus Eidlitz and is located in the heart of Times Square. It was initially constructed to serve as headquarters of the New York Times, but the paper moved its base of operation 8 years after moving into the tower in 1905. For decades, One Times Square remained mostly vacant, but it continued to be one of Times Square's primary focal points due to its excessive number of large illuminated and digital billboards. The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. This long-running, critically acclaimed, and popular CBS late-night talk program is taped every weekday at the Ed Sullivan Theater. Tapings are open to the public, but it can be difficult to land tickets. If you do get a pair, though, you'll be treated to one of the most popular and hilarious bits of free entertainment in Times Square. Colbert took over the late-night show reins from David Letterman in 2015. Ever since becoming the show's host, The Late Show has become increasingly political. If you want to attend a taping, tickets are released 2 months in advance and typically claimed quickly. Even if you don't get the tickets you're seeking for the dates you'll be in town, you can be put on a waiting list in case someone cancels at the last minute. The Daily Show with Trevor Noah. Attending a taping of The Daily Show remains one of the most popular things to do in Times Square. While Jon Stewart is no longer the host, Trevor Noah is doing a great job, although he's about to retire, so who knows who you'll see. As such, this is still one of the premier sources of free entertainment in the city, and everyday visitors from all over line up in droves to get their hands on tickets. The show tapes every day from Monday to Thursday, beginning at 6 p.m. and ending around 7 or 7:15. It's taped in a studio in Hell's Kitchen between 51st and 52nd Street at 733 11th 7th Avenue. You can reserve tickets online in advance and pick them up at will call on the day of taping. The Knickerbocker Hotel. Commissioned by John Jacob Astor in 1906, this historic hotel is an iconic Times Square mainstay. It features a beautiful Beaux Arts facade and a tasteful yet modern interior. The luxury hotel can be found in the heart of New York City, close by to many of the city's most famous landmarks and attractions. The rooms are elegant and spacious, featuring modern decor and furniture and high ceilings. While rates are a bit pricey, you'll be treated to luxury linens, designer toiletries, 4K flat-screen TVs, a fully stocked minibar, and luxurious bathrooms. Guests are also given access to the hotel's gourmet restaurant, gym, rooftop bar, and cigar lounge. The New Victory Theater. The New Victory Theater is one of the only full-time performing arts theaters in New York, and it's the only one geared towards families with children. This off-Broadway theater is located in the middle of Times Square. They offer year-round performances that feature dance, puppetry, opera, circus, and physical theater. It's housed inside of a historic building built by Oscar Hammerstein and designed by Albert Westover in 1900. Originally, it was named the Theater Republic, and when it first opened, its first offering was the play Sag Harbor, featuring Lionel Barrymore as the lead. A majority of the theater's original architecture features are still intact, such as the large dome adorned with lyre-playing cherubs around the rim. In 1995, the theater was refurbished and given its current name. Times Square Church. This popular non-denominational place of worship is located at 237 West 51st Street in the Theater District. It boasts parishioners from more than 100 countries and occupies the building that was formerly used by the Mark Hellinger Theater. Since then, they've held 6 services a week, 4 of which are on Sunday. Dave & Buster's. This popular family-friendly chain is one part sports bar and grill and one part arcade. Dave & Buster's opened their first bar in Dallas in 1982 and quickly expanded throughout the nation while improving on the concept. The Times Square location is expansive, bright, colorful, and enormously popular. They have a premium bar where you can order signature cocktails or any one of 20 beers on tap. It's a great spot to watch your favorite team play on one of their jumbo-sized TVs with stadium-quality surround sound. If you're hungry, their menu is diverse and includes everything from crispy chicken with sweet yet spicy campfire sauce to steaks, ribs, and chicken and waffles. New games are constantly being added to the arcade, including popular titles like Mario Kart and Halo Fireteam Raven. There are also games like billiards, skee-ball, and bowling. Now it's time to hear from you. What's your favorite spot in Times Square? Let us know in the comments section below.